Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here for a daily spark. You guys know who I am. I'm Dr. Angela Butchester, and you know what I like to do on the show. Say it with me. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on a fire. And that's what we want to do today. We want to get you fired up about our guest. It is the National Day of Prayer, and our guest today is Dr. Nikki Starr. So you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started.
Hello, Dr. Nikki. Thank you so much for joining me here on Daily Spark.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I love what um, the perspective that you bring to your client base and what you are doing. As one of our international guests, I realize that I may be introducing you to some new listeners, to some new viewers out there. So before we get started, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? What makes you you?
Yes, my name is Dr. Nikki Starr, and I began my journey as a medical doctor. I had a spiritual awakening and I went traveling all around the world, accruing knowledge about spirituality and the meaning of life. And then I came back to share my gifts with the world, and I work with men, women, and couples for ultimate living, loving, and business. And my superpower really lies in doing that through healing and energy work.
I love that. And the importance of knowing who you are and what you need to live that positive life, I think is so incredibly important. You know, we should stop, in my humble opinion, trying to do life in a very cookie cutter kind of way. We all ebb and flow at different points in our lives. And if we can have someone help us walk through that, then the journey becomes so much easier. So I applaud the work that you're doing. Thank you for that. Now, two areas that you are very familiar with is business and media. So I want to kind of talk one side of the coin and then we'll talk the other side of the coin. So let's start with business. And my first question for you is, have you ever faced a moment in business where prayer or meditation have directly influenced a major decision for you? Either to say yes, to say no, or sometimes even to simply pause.
Absolutely. The way I teach business is really intuitive led business. I don't believe in following some kind of cookie cutter model. I really guide each client based on their visioning, their design, their blueprint. There's no one size fit all. And the way that happens, that we discover what that is through the process of meditation and also prayer, because I say that prayer and meditation are like brother and sister. So first we pray, and our prayers are connected to our goals, our visions, what we have in mind. Even if, let's say, we don't know yet what we want to create, we can go into prayer with that question. And then the next step would be to sit in meditation to listen. And usually in that space, an intuitive divine download is received. And that's how I create all of my work, for example, all of my offers, to even to the price point. I sit in meditation and I really listen for what is that aligned price.
Oh, I love that. And for so many people, I don't think that they either believe people when they say, I have to spend some time on that. I'm going to pray about it or I'm going to meditate over it. I truly believe the people who say that mean exactly that. I know that I do because it's something that I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing in the right way for that situation. So, what a great point there. Now, speaking of that, what are some practical ways that professionals can incorporate either prayer or meditation or both into their daily routines? Now, I understand most entrepreneurs, much like ourselves, we're busy when we're busy, and it could be hard if you're not very mindful of trying to add it. What are some practical things they can do?
So at the start of the day, at the end of the day, or even in the middle of the day, it really depends on you as a person. I know for me, let's say if I wake up and I'm super inspired and I know what to do, then for me, I like to do all those things. I get all those things out of me that I know I can take action on in the direction of my business for the success, for my goals. And then I like to pray and meditate. And I have an altar in my home, and that's the place I like to sit and meditate. And regardless of your religion or what you believe, you can just create a sacred space to do that. It helps, our bodies and our minds get conditioned. Like our bed, that's the place to sleep. If we create a sacred space to meditate and pray, we can drop in a lot faster. And let's say if I wake up and I'm uninspired and I don't know what to do, and this is how I guide clients as well. If you don't know, then that's a great time to pray and meditate, because at some point in the day, that's you want to do that. And then if your day is really busy and you find, in order to order yourself for your dream space, because in our dreams we can receive messages and downloads and information, taking that time to pray and meditate at the end of the day, especially if you're really wired, that can help to calm you down to go to sleep. But if you know that you're going to fall asleep if you pray and meditate, then do not wait until the end of the day. Only if you know you can stay awake and it's actually going to help you go to sleep because you have a hard time falling asleep, then it would be a good idea to do it at the end of the day.
I could not agree with you more. I know that I am one of those people where God definitely connects with me in that dream state. And I know the difference between just that regular Angela having a dream and God giving me that download in an unconscious state and giving me the answer. And it really does make a difference. I have told people, God has a way of talking to each and every one of us in a very unique way. Perhaps it's when you're stuck in traffic on the freeway or when you're taking a shower. Some people hear an audible voice. Some people have a knowing. Some people are able to turn to scripture or words in a song. However it is, just know that that is your lane, and to do that, I love that you said it doesn't matter if it's in the morning or the evening or if it's in the middle of the day, but make sure that you are doing it. I could not agree with you more. I know that I try to do gratitude journaling even before I start my day. My first thing before my feet hit the floor is attitude to gratitude. Lord, thank you so much for waking me up today. What would you have me do? And like you said, then you sit in meditation and you wait for that answer. Your day goes by, hit the desk. These are the things I'm grateful for. All right, let's have a great and amazing day. And it really does make a difference in what's going on. Now, in high pressure environments, and of course, depending on your day or what industry you work in, that could be more days than not. How can a leader remain grounded and clear minded? Now, we know morning, afternoon, evening, have that prayer and that meditation. But what if they're just starting out there? Is there anything else that they could do that's going to help them in those high pressure situations?
Yeah, so the power of the breath is even just 3 deep breaths can really, when we're feeling the pressure, whether it's in business or even in relationship, taking that time, like even before, let's say if I'm like running all around and I'm about to get on a call with a client or one of my group mentorship programs, I'll take a moment and just close my eyes, take a deep breath, 3 deep breaths, and I will even set an intention or I will project a feeling like that I am calm and centered and grounded, and then I'll sign into the call. So that moment of pause, that moment of closing our eyes to go within, that helps us to center. And then the deep breaths also help us to come into our body. And I also really love visualization meditations. And you can just quickly visualize yourself like tree roots that grow into the earth. So, literal grounding too, in order to feel grounded.
I don't think people remember how important breathing is. I think we take it for granted, right? It's like breathing. We do it automatically. What are you ladies talking about? But just those three deep breaths, boy, can they really and truly calm you down. And I think that when we remind people, we do know how important it is because when someone is very erratic and things are seeming chaotic, what do we say? Breathe, take a breath, hold on, right? And that's why people say that, help center yourself again, help bring yourself back into alignment. So I love that you're reminding us of that. Now, in your opinion, what can business leaders do? And I want to kind of broaden it. Let me say, what can leadership, be it that it's business or you are a work from home type business or you're corporate, but what can you do to help your team come together in unity? This is, of course, the National Day of Prayer, and we realize praying is something that you cannot necessarily do in a workplace, but you can come together under an umbrella of unity. So, what are some things that we could do in that workspace?
So, the power of intention. I feel like the power of intention is just like prayer, where we speak certain types of words into existence. And let's say if you're at a business meeting and there's a table of people, or you're on Zoom with a group of people, you can begin the meeting with intention setting. So when I begin calls with clients or in group sessions, I do an invocation where I state what the intention is, what my position is, and you can make it as in terms of the verbiage and the words and the vocabulary that you use, you can adjust for your audience. So let's say if you're not in a religious or spiritual environment, then you can do it more concrete, like, great to have you. These are our intentions for the day. Let's take a moment to, maybe you can't guide a meditation either, but just that moment of setting collective intention brings everyone together. So the focus goes together. Now, if you are in a place where people are a bit more spiritual or have faith, you can ask people, let's just take a moment, close our eyes, clear out what doesn't serve us for this meeting, and let's take deep breaths. Let's get grounded and centered, and then stating again what's going to be the focus so then everyone's mind comes into resonance. And the other thing that I feel makes a really powerful leader that helps to bring everyone into coherence is the clear clarity that you have. The clearer you are, the better of a leader you are, and the way others perceive you as well. And that clarity comes inside the prayer and meditation time. So you're going into your meetings super crisp, guiding, knowing if people are going off track, you can guide them back to the topics. So your crystal clear clarity really helps you to be a great leader and keep everyone on track.
Ooh, I like that. Be crystal clear. I love it. I love it. Well, Dr. Nikki, it is time for us to take a very short break. But before we do, now, of course, your information is here on the screen. But for those that are listening in, if they want to reach out to you or follow you on socials, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Dr. Nikki Starr, DrNikkistarr, two R's, two K's, two I's. My website is drnikkistarr.com, same spelling. And you can also email me at nikkistarr@drnikkistarr.com. And Nikki Starr is spelled with the two K's, two I's, two R's.
I love it. Alrighty, everyone. Now you know where you can visit. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark. Dr. Nikki, I want to talk about flip side of the coin. Let's talk about media. So, what responsibilities do you feel come with having a voice or a platform in today's landscape?
When I was on a Fox reality show, I realized the power that media has as a platform to awaken consciousness in humanity. It is the space where we can broadcast change for the world through our examples, through what we write, through what we choose to share. And that's when I really started to take it seriously. And so basically, since then, I've been posting somewhere online every single day. And I feel that we all have a responsibility for those of us that are rooted in love, in the heart, in God, in connection with the divine. We do all this personal work, and I feel that it's our responsibility to be that positive light in the world as well.
And I find that each platform has their own type of audience. That it is not a one size fits all. We were talking about that before, that it can't be cookie cutter. So you really do have to figure out where are your people? You're spot on there. Now, how have you seen positive centered messaging create real impact for people, since we're talking about community, not just in our real lives in our physical world, but our virtual platforms as well?
I feel like you mentioned, depending on which platform it is, first of all, I think to kind of alleviate any pressure, just choose the one that you like using the most. And also, I find that people don't even have to create their own content. You could reshare the content that you found uplifting so that it reaches more people. So that's one way. It's you just being a curator, a sharer of content. And let's say Instagram now has the reshare button, TikTok has it, on Facebook, you can share it on your page. So pretty much all the platforms have a way that you can share what you find inspiring, uplifting, that gave you an insight or just a positive feeling. And in terms of what you can share, I'd say if you are a content creator, I have always found that it just always what moves you is so powerful to share, whether it's in a video, a picture, a few words, long form content, videos. I feel like whatever inspires and lights you up has an impact on others because that energy is also being received. It's being transmitted, so it's being received. So whatever you're passionate about is powerful to share.
Now, what are some intentional ways that media professionals can highlight stories that reflect truth and hope and purpose? And I mean literally media professionals, those that have perhaps gone to school for broadcast or journalism, or for those that are making a living off of this, not just our casual posters.
So I have found that stories help teach. When you're an excellent storyteller and you can weave into a story, and oftentimes it's a story that just happened to you, and you can weave those lessons in, this really captures the reader's attention. And I know because this is one way that I have shared content, for example, and I've received clients through this way as well, where I've taken real life things that I've lived and I've written it more in that flowery visual where people really feel like they're there. I paint the whole picture. I share where it was, what the feelings were, sometimes what people were wearing. I really get the reader inside the story. And then from there, in some aspect of the story, the reader will see themselves. And then from there, it's really delivering and giving the takeaway message of like, this is what was learned. And sometimes even speaking through the I form, like, this is the experience that I lived. Like one time I had a article published in Elephant Journal. This was back probably in 2015 or something. And it was about my love affair with the sun. It was like so simple. But then it was published, and it was really like my passionate love affair with the sunset, and how like it was really about being present in the moment and how beautiful the simple things are in life, and how it can really transform our whole day, and also trusting in the flow of how things happen, that you'll find yourself at the right place at the right time. And really it was a story I shared about being in Ibiza, where I now live, and this beautiful pink sunset that I experienced. So simple, and yet someone decided to publish it on a public journal.
Oh, I love that. When we look to nature, I find that if we talk long enough with each other, we can figure out what we have in common. I am not a morning person. I am very much a night owl. So as you were saying, oh, the sun, and I'm going, oh, well, the sun, yeah, it is beautiful and I love it. Like when I'm at the beach and how happy I am at the beach. So yeah. Now I think of myself more as a moon girl, but then as you said that, I'm going, I do like the sun when I'm at the beach. You're right. But the sunsets, that's it. That's where we would like, oh, let's meet for the sunset and just see the beautiful artwork. Every sunset, we get a unique piece of art. Let's join up and see what's going to be created today. So I love how we're able to find that thing that can join us together, that brings us that positivity and that balance. And just that simple answer. Look at that. There's going to be someone else that's going to be inspired, Dr. Nikki, that says, you know what, maybe I should just write. Maybe I'm not a face person on social media. Maybe I don't always share the things that I find inspiring on social media, but I can write. I can have a Medium page or a Substack, or I can be that person who's an inspirational writer and share about the simplicity of living your best life. Because I think that's where it is, just being able to find that space that is yours. I love it. And of course, Ibiza is beautiful. Who wouldn't want to write about that? So thank you for that. Now, we live in speaking of how we operate and move in our various spaces. We live, I feel, in a very fast-paced digital world. It could just literally be your 15 minutes if you get 15 minutes before something else happens. So in that fast-paced world, how do you remain grounded and intentional about the messages we release?
I feel has to do with your consistency and regularity of posting. So people who are like, oh, I just write an article or I post or I make a video once a week or once every other week or once a month. I'm like laughing at this, like, what? And you expect to have impact. You're running a business and this is how much you're using media and marketing to share. Like, this is a joke, right? Because I don't know what the statistics are anymore, but at one point it was like people have to have contact or see something like 18 times before they say yes, or before they would click the link, or before they would actually buy, or whatever the case is. So if that's the case, how many times a week are you posting? I know for me, I do at least once a day, like a regular post, but I'm repurposing to different platforms. I'm posting multiple stories. Like there's so many points of contact and touch. I also will sometimes send an email as well. So there's so many ways that we can reach people. So I think like never think that you're bothering someone. Like if they don't like something, they'll just unsubscribe. That's okay. I feel like more is better. And it's not because more is more, it's because of what you said. You can get drowned out by so many other things. And I also feel like don't be afraid. Like we all generally have like a similar message that we're always sharing. Like since mine's about ultimate living, loving, and business, I'm often sharing on these topics. I'm sharing on energy strategy and energy work. I'm sharing on healing. I'm sharing on mentorship. I'm sharing on divine union level love. Like I have my main things. I'm talking about manifestation. I'm talking about prayer and meditation. I'm talking about intuitive led business, I have my themes. And sometimes I might repeat myself or say things in the same or a different way. And that's okay because of this thing of so much is being shared. You have endless content to talk about. Like we said, whatever are your interests, whatever you're selling, whatever point you want to get across, you can say it so many times and people will hear it and receive it in a different way depending on them and their upbringing. So, my advice is when in doubt, post. Post more, post again. I know some people that are posting 3 times a day on Instagram to really get their pages more viral. So, you really can't post enough. So post, even if it's simple, if it's short, change it up, video, picture, reel, alive, change it up. Try different things also as a form of an experimentation. And don't worry about the perfectionism. If it's about 70%, that's good enough because people get paralyzed in the pursuit of perfection.
Oh my goodness, yes. And I find that that procrastination just freezes them because they're so afraid. Well, it's not perfect. I don't know. Should it be red? Should it be green? Should it be blue? Should it be light? Should it be dark? It's like, just put it out. Or how about this? Do one of each. And then let them tell you which one they like. And then you take that and just keep moving forward. Like, just do. I love how you're saying it. Just do it. Not for the sake of more being more, but just because we need to make sure that that positivity is cutting through some of the chaos and the noise that is out there. I love how you inspire and you guide gently, but yet with that sense of wisdom and direction. Dr. Nikki, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and spending some time with me here in the Daily Spark space, and especially for National Day of Prayer. Now, before I let you go, I'm pretty sure someone out there wants to spend a little bit more time with you in their own space. With that being said, what is the best way to get to you, to follow up with you, and to follow you on socials?
Absolutely. So definitely follow me on Instagram at Dr. Nikki Starr, DrNikkistarr, 2 R's, 2 K's, 2 I's. My website, drnikkistarr.com, and you can email me at nikkistarr at drnikkistarr.com.
I love it. Thank you again, Dr. Nikki, for being a guest today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Angela.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for spending some time with me here today. You could have been anywhere and you chose to spend it with me today, and I thank you for doing so. With that being said, I hope that we have enlightened, inspired, and empowered you once again. As always, may the Lord continue to shine his face upon you. May you receive his grace and his mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.